Hi everyone, I'm Grace from Gardening for Joy, and in today's video I'm going to talk about pressing hydrangeas. And here in front of me I have hydrangeas from my garden. Talk a little bit about them. So I have three varieties of the big leaf hydrangea. Here's one which is kind of a dark purple. Then I have the blue, a little bit blue, and then I have one here that's pink. So those are all the big leaf variety. Then I have one that's it's called Limelight, and that's a paniculata type of hydrangea. And then finally, this one in the middle here is called Quickfire. Again, another paniculata type of hydrangea. So I thought I would just talk about some of the different techniques that I use for pressing hydrangeas. First thing I want to talk about is, when to pick a hydrangea. So you want to pick a hydrangea once all of the flowers have bloomed that are on the one flower head. But you have to pick it before the flowers start to fade. So I'll give you an example. So I picked this one this morning, and you can see it's still beautiful, right? But you can see some of the flowers are starting to fade. They're starting to turn a little brown on the edges, which means they're starting to dry out. So probably not the best candidate for pressing flowers unless you're looking for that type of a look in your pressed flowers. So pick your hydrangea when it's at its peak of beautifulness, I guess I should say. All right, so let's see. I also picked this blue one this morning, which just looked perfect, right? How pretty is that? So we'll start with this one. So there's a couple things that I do when I press hydrangeas. One of the things that I like to do is I just like to clip off the individual flowers. And if you see my other videos, you'll know that I do this technique with other flowers too. Gosh, I love these flowers as little accent pieces, right? So you can just pick them off and then you dry them all independently. Really, just really beautiful. You can, right? You can, and I'll display that with the other hydrangea. You can try to dry the whole head, and I have done that. But I'm just not crazy about how the whole head comes out. So the other thing I do is I snip off the various branches under here that hold the flowers, right? So when you look under there, you'll see that there is like little mini hydrangeas, right? That's the way I like to think of them. And then the hydrangea leaves. Don't forget the hydrangea leaves are really pretty. So here are these little individual clusters of hydrangea flowers. And I find it's much easier to press these in clusters than pressing the whole head. So I will lay these upside down. I will cut the stem as close to the first set of flowers as possible. I'll do that with this next one too. One that fell off. Again, I have another one here that I can do. Another one here. And then let me just cut a few extra flowers because you can't get enough of these little accent flowers. At least that's what I find when I'm doing an arrangement. And I really want to fill up the artwork that I'm doing. Nothing beats little individual hydrangea flowers. So I just love to do that. So each one of them will get pressed, right? Really pretty. And then these big ones will get pressed, and they'll turn out flat. They'll actually turn out, turn out pretty. I mean, I really like the way they turn out, better than when I did try to press the whole flower head at once. So let's go ahead and get these ones ready. And you're just going to lay it down, gently press it down, right? Take your piece of cardboard, lay it on top, and then get ready for the next one. So, okay, let me just go back to the leaves. These leaves are really pretty, so I'm going to, they're perfect, right? You want leaves that are perfect. You don't want leaves that have black spots on them, that are ripped, that have an insect biting something out of them. You want perfect leaves, and these were actually pretty darn perfect, so we'll use those. Let's look at this pink one, which is super pretty too. I'm going to cut a big piece of the stem off. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness, it is so pretty. And you know what? This one isn't super, super large. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just go ahead and see if we can press that whole thing. So I'm going to lay it down as best I can. I'm going to, I want the leaves laying flat out, so I'm going to put them out and think about once it's pressed, this is all going to be down, and you want your leaves kind of facing the same way as the pressed flower. So they're going to also be facing down. So that's going to be really pretty. It's got a lot of little perfect accent leaves on it. So we'll press that, and that should come out really, really nice. Let's look at one of these paniculata hydrangeas. This particular one. It starts out white, and then it turns pink. These I always like just cutting the individual flowers off of them. They're a much different texture than the big leaf hydrangeas. They're a little bit crisper than the big leaf, even when they're just on the flower as they are now. So here again, I'm just going to go around. The pink ones are so pretty, right? What I might start to do is just cut off some of these clusters. I'm going to cut off clusters. Whoops. And I'll do the same thing that I did with the big leaf one. I'm going to cut some of the petals, and then I'll cut some of the clusters, right? Oh, see if I have any little bugs that kind of join me, right? And then I'm going to examine them to see if there's any that, are not quite so perfect. And if there are, then I'm going to take those out. Because there's nothing worse than having a pretty pressed flower arrangement where the flowers really just aren't that perfect. So examine your flowers, look at them. If there's one that you think isn't quite perfect, like on here, just not quite perfect, I'm just going to snip it off. Oops. And again, from being outside, oh, there was a little bug I saw. I don't know where it went. Take some of this. Here's another one which has a flower that isn't quite perfect. We'll just put those pieces. And then let's do just some individual ones, right? Because they really are pretty. The pink and the white, really pretty. And even just the plain white ones are very pretty too. Again, I'm going to look at these and see this one here just has a little bit of an imperfection, so I don't want to use it. Because what will happen is I'll press it and I won't use it. So there's really no reason to press it right from the beginning. So I want those perfect ones. So again, little clusters I'm going to press, and then I'm going to press a bunch of little individual flower heads, right? Get rid of any shape that happens to get in your way. And let's see, my limelight. Again, the limelight is so pretty, right? It's got this kind of lime color, really pretty. And you can do exactly the same thing. You can do little clusters. You can do individual petals. Really pretty. Just going to cut them off. Do those. And then my purple one, gosh, how pretty is that? So pretty. But this one, I'm just going to cut off. I just want a couple of little clusters of these that I'll add to here. It's all stuck up in the flower. And when I do a cluster like this, as I'm doing whatever flower art I'm doing, I can always make the decision then as to, I can still clip off the individual flowers if they aren't, too curled under each other. So I'm going to clean off, make sure I don't have any residual under there. Trying to think what else. We've got some leaves. Maybe what I will do is these have some pretty perfect leaves on them. So I'll add a couple of hydrangea leaves on here. So I encourage you to go ahead and try to press a full head, and see how it comes out for you. If it comes out fine, if it comes out good, great, continue doing that. If it doesn't, think about the alternative approach of cutting up these little clusters, and certainly cut the individual flowers because they can be used for so many different things. So there you have it, with the hydrangeas. I wish you a lot of luck in your summer flower pressing or your flower pressing in general. Feel free to leave me any comments or questions that you might have. And thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time.